Good morning again. I have the privilege to do the offering message, and I'm very excited. Both my mom and my mom-in-law loves flowers, so I believe that this message will bless you. I believe that you will enjoy it. Any other flower lovers here? There we go. Okay, awesome. So for the offering message, this flower, I don't know if it's called the faith flower anywhere else but in my perspective, but I call it the faith flower because it lives on the water, it walks on the water. Now, there are 5 facts that will help us, that we can learn from this water lily, that will help us with regards to our finances. So, the first one is, water lilies grow in a rainbow of colors. Now, I used to just think that they are white when they are on the water, but apparently there's a lot of colors. There's pink, red, orange, yellow, purple, blue, and then there's tropical varieties with jewel stones, and sometimes the color changes. That is amazing. And each and every one of them have their own unique, every specimen has their own unique color. So from Luke 12 verse 27, we see, consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither wearily toil, nor spin, nor weave. Yet I tell you, even Solomon, in even all of his glory, his splendor and magnificence, was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass in the field, which is alive today, and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, how much more will he clothe you, O you people of little faith? Now, in my finances, I can be a faith flower and live in rainbow-like lily style without wearily toiling because of the word and the promise that God has given me. The second principle that we can learn from these water lilies is that they help their environment. So they house insects, and obviously then the birds can eat the insects, and the fish, I guess, also enjoy them. I don't know. They provide shelter for fish from predatory birds because they cover, and they provide shade, keeping the water cool and also lowering the temperature so that algae doesn't grow and it doesn't ruin the quality of the water. 1 John 3 verse 17 says, but if anyone has this world's goods, resources for sustaining life, and sees his brother and fellow believer in need, yet closes his heart of compassion against him, how can the love of God live and remain in him? So I put a Leatherman, a multi-tool there. And my challenge to myself and to you is to make the environment that you are in better with the presence. With you there, it must be better while you're there. Now, financial and other resources that you have should be beneficial to those around you. So whatever you have, if you have you can bake nice cakes. Let it be of benefit to those around you. If you know that you've got an ear that listens to someone that is in a time of need, let that be of the benefit to those around you. And then, obviously, if you've got financial resources, let it be of benefit to those that are around you so that everyone can benefit from that. Water lilies can tolerate a wide range of pH. They're not very specific with regards to the pH of the water. And I want to challenge you and myself to tolerate the extremities of the environment that you are in. This is a very interesting time that we are in with regards to financial climate. And we can tolerate those extremities, and we can help anyone and everyone wherever we are. 1 Peter 4 verse 10 says, every believer has received grace gifts, so use them to serve one another as faithful stewards of the many-colored tapestry of God's grace. Now, an interesting fact is you can actually eat the water lily stalks, the stokkie gedeelte. You can eat that. And there is a lovely shapla curry made from water lily stems. So you can eat them. Now, be edible or of use for those who are around you. Specifically with regards to your finances, reach out to those that are next to you with the God-given gifts that you have received. Now, with God, our darkest hour will be like noonday. So that's the comparison. In Isaiah 58, we see, and if you pour out that which you sustain your own life for the hungry and satisfy the need of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in darkness, and your obscurity and gloom become like the noonday. So if you've got this gloomy, dark, obscene scenario in your life, specifically with regards to finances, this is the key that we can use, is to pour that out and say, Lord, you are my provider. At one point, I'm not going to share the whole story, but at some point, I worked in the hospitality industry as a food and beverage manager at a wedding venue. And at some point, I asked the Lord, I need to know which way to go. Anyways, long story short, he showed me a picture of a child standing on top and a father with his hands open and saying, it's safe to jump. So at that point, I then quit my job and I said, Lord, I'm going to jump into who you are. And I had 16,000 Rand in the bank. Now, to me, at that point, it was a lot of money. And I thought, wow, this is going to last forever. Anyways, luckily, Isak does the math, not me. And then the Lord said to me, Chanell, sow half of it. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This was going to have to be what is going to have to sustain us. And then the Lord asked me this. He said, Chanell, are you the ones that sustain you? Or am I the God that sustains you? And I said, okay, Lord, I will pour out that you used to sustain your own life. What I had to use to sustain my own life, I will pour that out. And I will say, Lord, I trust that you do what you do. And it's been 12 years, hey? How many years now? 12 years since that day. And he is worthy to be trusted. Okay, the third principle that we can use from this beautiful water lily is the giant or the royal water lily is strong. This pad can grow to a diameter of up to 2 meters wide, and it can carry roughly 30 kilograms of weight. Now, Reinhard is 5 years old, and he's about 20 kilograms. So a young child can actually walk on these water lilies. Matthew 14, verse 25 says, and in the fourth watch, between 3 and 6 a.m. of the night, Jesus came to them walking on the sea. Now, Thomas Fuller coined this quote in the 1900s, the darkest hour is just before dawn. Now, even in the worst of circumstances, there can be hope. So that's what the phrase refers to, is even in that where it feels just before the sunrise, it feels like there's no hope, there's no light, nothing is working. Now, the disciples was in a boat, a little vissersbootjie, a little fisher's boat. They were in this boat and they were being tossed around by this violent sea, and it was on that sea, in that dark hour, that Jesus came walking on that water, and that he saved them, he delivered them. Now, Jesus was walking on the very problem that threatened to kill them, which was the water. He was walking on that was going to destroy them, and he came to them in their need, in their hour of need. I want to give you this promise. In that hour of need, Jesus comes walking to you because he's got everything that you need. And if we just turn to him and we say, Lord, I really don't know. I need you, specifically with regards to finances. He says, I will rescue you in that moment. Galatians 3 verse 26 says, for in Christ Jesus, you are all sons of God through faith. And that is what makes this walking on water possible. Is faith. Now, faith is for our benefit, and it enables us to walk on the water. I had this dream. I'm a dreamer. The Lord speaks to me in dreams. And I had this dream once where it was at the previous campsite that I was working at, and I was standing next to the swimming pool. And I experienced the Lord say, step out onto the water. And I'm like, okay, and it was just water. And as I put my foot down, as it touched the water, it became cement underneath my foot. And the Lord said, this is what faith is. Faith is stepping out. Hebrews 11 verse 1 says from the Passion Translation, now faith brings our hopes into reality. What you hope for, what you trust for into reality, and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. Now we can be like the faith flower that walks on the water in our darkest hour. Even if you have, especially when you have no money, believe in what is still unseen and step out onto what the Lord has said. The fourth principle that we can take from this faith flower is it blooms, the flower blooms on top of the water, but the roots are deep in the mud. From Colossians 2 verse 7, we see that have roots of your being firmly and deeply planted in Him, fixed and founded in Him, being continually built up in Him and becoming increasingly more confirmed and established in the faith, just as you were taught, and abounding and overflowing in it with thanksgiving. Now, thanksgiving, gratitude, is a key when we are in the mud. To say, what am I grateful for? What am I thankful for? So while you are rooted in this mud that seems dark, that seems hopeless, have that gratitude, because when we are rooted in Christ, nothing can sway us. And you are not abandoned to your circumstances. Now, the water lilies, while they are rooted in the mud, they grow up to the top, and then the flower is there. And then once the winter comes, they go back down and they overwinter there. They stay there, and then they regrow again. So especially when it is tough in your finances, overwinter where you are rooted in faith and hope. And the Google search that I put in here was prayer closet, and I found this, and I'm like, this is what I want to say. This image is where you, in that quiet, deep, dark place, you say, Lord, it's tough right now, but I will overwinter here, and then I will receive hope, and I will receive, and I will regrow in strength and in beauty. The last one is the spiritual significance of this faith flower, of this water lily, is purity of heart and hope. Now, Matthew 5 verse 8 says, blessed, and then there's the description of blessed, happy, enviably fortunate, and spiritually prosperous. And then it explains a bit about the spiritually prosperous. It says, possessing the happiness produced by the experience of God's favor, and especially conditioned by the revelation of His grace, regardless of their outward conditions. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, regardless of their outward conditions. Some religions believe that the pure white water lily and its dark greens represents hope, because a beautiful bloom emerges from the dark mud. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the love of money is a root of all evils. It is through this craving that some have been led astray and have wandered from the faith. And then this last part, it just stroked me when I read this. And pierced themselves through with many acute mental pangs. When your mind is just going crazy and you don't know how to get through the situation, you don't know what to do, and everything is just in turmoil on the inside of you, it's important, specifically with regards to finances, to keep our heart pure and to say, Lord, I'm going to take what I've learned from this water lily, and I'm going to live from that. So live beautifully, colorful, without wearily toiling, putting all of the effort in from your side. Make the environment you are in better. Walk on the water of your storms. Have roots firmly planted in Jesus, and keep your heart pure and fixed in faith.